Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past nickels every single day without giving them a second glance, but one specific coin from 1983 has created absolute chaos in the coin collecting world because a few rare examples are rumored to carry jaw-dropping values reaching up to $50 million under the right conditions and collector demand. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what people thought before hidden mint mistakes started appearing inside old coin jars, dusty drawers, and forgotten family collections. Somewhere out there, one ordinary-looking 1983 P Jefferson 5-cent coin could still be waiting to change someone's life forever, and by the end of this video you'll understand why collectors become obsessed whenever this nickel appears at auctions, why certain tiny details matter more than the coin itself, and why you need to stay until the end because the upcoming coins in this series become even stranger, even rarer, and way more unbelievable than most people can imagine. The 1983 P Jefferson nickel was produced at the Philadelphia Mint during a fascinating time in American coin history when the United States Mint was dealing with massive production pressure, changing equipment, quality control issues, and experimental minting adjustments that accidentally created some of the most hunted modern coins in circulation. Back in 1983, America was still recovering from economic struggles. Inflation had affected the metal industry, and the mint was producing enormous quantities of coins to satisfy circulation demand. Millions upon millions of nickels flooded across the country, and because these coins were viewed as common everyday money, very few people bothered preserving them carefully. That is exactly why high-grade survivors today are far rarer than people realize. Most 1983 P nickels became scratched, worn, damaged, or simply disappeared into circulation for decades, but hidden among those ordinary nickels were a handful of mysterious examples showing strange surfaces, off-center strikes, double details, missing mint characteristics, and rare die varieties that collectors still debate about today. Some numismatists believe the legendary value attached to certain 1983 P nickels comes from a combination of pristine condition and unique minting anomalies that were never supposed to escape the mint at all. Imagine a worker loading blank planchets into giant coining presses while microscopic alignment errors slowly begin developing deep inside the machinery. One tiny misalignment, one defective die, one pressure imbalance, and suddenly a coin is born unlike any other. Most errors are caught and destroyed, but sometimes a few escape into circulation unnoticed, creating accidental treasures hidden among billions of ordinary coins. That's what makes this story so exciting because collectors are not just searching for metal, they're hunting for mistakes, history, and impossible odds. One of the most talked about rumors surrounding the 1983 P nickel involves examples with extreme strike sharpness combined with unusual die doubling visible around Jefferson's profile and lettering. To the average person it may look normal, but expert collectors study these details under magnification for hours because tiny differences can mean the gap between 5 cents and a life-changing payday. Some specimens reportedly displayed mirror-like surfaces resembling proof coins even though they were struck for circulation, while others showed dramatic off-center strikes or clipped planchets that turned ordinary nickels into collector magnets. There are even stories about transitional errors involving experimental metal compositions, although many remain controversial and heavily debated in numismatic circles. But controversy only makes collectors more obsessed. The mystery fuels the market. The possibility that an unknown rarity still exists somewhere keeps people searching through pocket change every single day. And here's the crazy part. Many valuable coins are discovered by complete beginners who almost spent them on snacks, soda, or parking meters before realizing what they had. That possibility alone keeps millions of viewers hooked on rare coin hunting. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where the numbers become absolutely insane. Coin grading companies like Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company examine coins under powerful magnification and assign grades based on preservation quality. For modern nickels like the 1983 P, finding an example with razor-sharp details, blazing luster, and nearly perfect surfaces is incredibly difficult because these coins circulated heavily. A top population example graded near perfection can trigger bidding wars among elite collectors who want the absolute best-known specimen. That's when prices explode beyond logic. One auction can suddenly rewrite the market forever if wealthy collectors decide they must own a particular coin no matter the cost. And trust me, the psychology behind coin collecting is wild, because rarity creates emotion, emotion creates competition, and competition creates crazy auction prices. Some collectors spend decades building Jefferson nickel sets, searching endlessly for flawless examples, and when a nearly perfect 1983 P appears, emotions take over. Suddenly bids jump from hundreds to thousands, then tens of thousands, and in legendary rumor cases tied to ultra-rare errors or elite condition pieces, speculative values soar into the millions. Whether every rumored valuation is fully confirmed or not, the excitement surrounding these coins keeps growing year after year. Another reason collectors love the 1983 P nickel is because it represents the hidden treasure concept perfectly. Unlike ancient gold coins locked away in museums, this is a modern American coin that ordinary people actually used. Your parents could have spent one. Your grandparents may still have one hidden in an old coffee can. A forgotten piggy bank, an inherited coin jar, a dusty dresser drawer, these ordinary places have produced extraordinary discoveries before. There are stories of people casually rolling nickels at the kitchen table only to notice something odd about a single coin, later discovering it was worth more than their car. That thrill is addictive. It transforms loose change into a treasure hunt. And speaking of hidden discoveries, don't go anywhere, because the next coin later in this series becomes even more mysterious with a value rumor that has collectors completely losing their minds, and the strange details behind it are something you genuinely won't expect. Now, one fascinating detail about the 1983 P nickel involves the Philadelphia Mint mark situation itself. Before 1980, Philadelphia nickels often lacked a P mint mark entirely, but by the early 1980s collectors had become more focused on identifying mint origins. Tiny variations in placement, strike strength, and die were created, subtle distinctions that eagle-eyed collectors still examine today. Some rare examples show unusual strike weakness around Monticello on the reverse, while others feature dramatic machine doubling or die cracks that create bizarre appearances. To non-collectors these might sound like flaws, but inside the numismatic community flaws can become fortunes, because mistakes make coins unique. And uniqueness drives demand harder than almost anything else in collecting culture. The rise of social media and online coin hunting channels has only intensified the obsession. Videos showing rare nickels selling for astonishing prices spread across the internet faster than wildfire. Suddenly millions of people started checking jars, wallets, and cash registers hoping to uncover hidden treasure. Dealers reported increased demand for modern Jefferson nickels, especially unusual varieties from the 1980s. Auction houses noticed more attention on high-grade modern coinage. The hobby transformed from a quiet collector market into a global treasure hunt where ordinary people dreamed of finding life-changing coins in everyday circulation. That emotional dream is powerful because deep down everyone wants to believe fortune could be hiding right under their nose. But here's something important many beginners don't realize. Not every 1983 P nickel is valuable. Condition, errors, rarity, grading, and authenticity matter enormously. Scammers sometimes exaggerate values online, which is why serious collectors rely on reputable grading companies and auction records rather than random internet claims. Still, genuine rare examples absolutely do exist, and the right combination of rarity and preservation can produce astonishing results. So if you find a sharp-looking 1983 P nickel with unusual features, don't clean it, don't polish it, and definitely don't spend it before researching carefully because even tiny damage can destroy collector value instantly. Coin preservation is everything. A single wipe with a cloth can turn a potentially valuable discovery into ordinary pocket change. Imagine realizing afterward that one careless mistake erased thousands or even millions in possible value. That's the kind of story collectors never forget. One legendary aspect of the 1983 P nickel market involves full steps examples. On the reverse of the coin beneath Monticello are tiny steps that become fully visible only on exceptionally well-struck coins. Collectors obsess over these details because full steps nickels are dramatically scarcer than ordinary strikes. A nearly flawless 1983 P with strong full steps and brilliant surfaces can attract enormous attention among advanced collectors competing for registry rankings. Those microscopic steps might seem insignificant to most people, but in the collector world they can mean the difference between a common coin and an elite rarity. Crazy, right? A few tiny lines on a building turning 5 cents into a dream collectible. And while viewers are still trying to process that, just wait until the upcoming coins in this series reveal even stranger stories involving hidden minting accidents, mysterious circulation finds, and unbelievable discoveries that most people would spend without thinking twice. The emotional side of rare coin collecting is what truly keeps the hobby alive. Every coin carries history. Every scratch, error, and detail tells a story about the day it was created, the machines that struck it, the people who used it, and the decades it survived unnoticed. The 1983 P nickel represents more than money, it represents possibility. The possibility that ordinary people can still discover extraordinary things. The possibility that treasure hunts didn't disappear with pirates and lost maps, they simply evolved into pocket change and forgotten jars. Somewhere out there tonight, someone may unknowingly possess one of these rare nickels without any idea what it could become at auction. Maybe it's sitting in a drawer right now. Maybe it's inside a cash register. Maybe it's mixed into a pile of ordinary change waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. And if you thought this coin was unbelievable, the next coin coming up in this series takes the mystery and collector obsession to an entirely different level, with a story so strange that even experienced collectors still argue about it today. Next, 2012 D 5-cent USA coins million worth $60. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding a fortune in plain sight while everyone around you spends it like ordinary pocket change. The 2012 D Jefferson 5-cent coin shocked collectors when whispers began spreading through the numismatic world about rare Denver Mint examples connected to strange strike characteristics, mysterious die varieties, and auction prices that climbed into territory nobody expected from a modern nickel. Some collectors claim certain ultra-rare examples tied to extraordinary condition and minting anomalies could reach values approaching $60 million under the perfect storm of rarity, publicity, and collector demand, and that rumor alone transformed this seemingly ordinary coin into one of the most talked about modern nickels ever discussed online. But here's where things get wild. Most people who own these nickels still have no idea what they're holding, and before this video ends you're going to understand why collectors stare at 2012 D nickels under magnifying glasses for hours searching for tiny details that could completely change their lives, and trust me, you absolutely need to stay until the end because the final coin in this lineup carries an even darker mystery that has collectors and treasure hunters obsessed beyond belief. By 2012 the United States Mint had entered a new era of advanced production technology, but even modern machinery cannot eliminate human error, die fatigue, pressure inconsistencies, or unexpected mint accidents. The Denver Mint produced enormous numbers of Jefferson nickels that year, most entering circulation unnoticed as everyday currency. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and bank rolls without anyone imagining that hidden among them could be coins capable of creating national headlines inside the collecting community. What makes the 2012 D nickel so fascinating is the strange combination of modern precision and accidental rarity. Collectors discovered that while millions were struck, finding examples with exceptional strike quality, blazing mint luster, and flawless surfaces was surprisingly difficult. Most modern nickels quickly pick up scratches, bag marks, contact damage, and wear almost immediately after entering circulation. Because of that, elite condition survivors became dramatically scarcer than people expected. Then rumors about unusual die varieties and mint anomalies started spreading online, and suddenly collectors across America began tearing through rolls of nickels searching for hidden treasures. One of the most talked about characteristics tied to certain rare 2012 D nickels involves dramatic die doubling around Jefferson's portrait and lettering. To the average person the coin appears completely normal, but under magnification some examples reportedly reveal strange doubling effects that create a powerful visual difference collectors love. Others allegedly display unusual die cracks stretching across parts of the design like lightning bolts frozen into metal. There are even accounts of nickels showing partial color errors, weak strikes, or oddly reflective surfaces resembling proof-like finishes despite being circulation strikes. Whether every internet story is fully verified or not almost doesn't matter anymore because collector psychology took over. Once excitement enters the hobby, demand can explode overnight. And demand is where fortunes are born. Imagine two wealthy collectors both trying to own the finest known 2012 D Jefferson nickel. One auction appears online featuring a near-perfect specimen graded at the very top of the population reports. Suddenly bids start climbing. Thousands become tens of thousands. Media coverage spreads across coin forums and social platforms. The coin becomes famous. At that point collectors are no longer buying metal, they are buying prestige, bragging rights, and a piece of modern coin lore. That emotional competition is what sends values into insane territory. The craziest part is that these coins are modern enough that many could still be hiding in circulation today. That's why people get hooked on coin hunting so fast. Unlike ancient rarities locked behind museum glass, the 2012 D nickel feels reachable. It feels possible. Someone watching this video right now could literally have one sitting unnoticed inside a kitchen drawer. Most people never inspect nickels closely. They spend them instantly. That's exactly why valuable discoveries continue happening. Hidden treasure survives because nobody bothers looking carefully enough. And while viewers are checking their change jars tonight, remember this: the final coin in this series becomes even more unbelievable because the rumors surrounding its rarity are so extreme that some collectors call it the ultimate modern nickel fantasy. But before we get there, the story behind the 2012 D nickel keeps getting deeper. Professional grading transformed the market for modern coins in a massive way. Companies like Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company began certifying elite condition modern nickels, and collectors realized just how difficult true perfection actually is. A coin may look flawless to the naked eye, but under professional magnification tiny imperfections become obvious instantly. One microscopic scratch or weakly struck detail can drop a grade dramatically. That's why population reports matter so much. If only a handful of coins exist at the very highest grades, competition becomes brutal. Registry set collectors especially fuel these battles because they want the best possible coins for their ranked collections. A single point difference on the grading scale can multiply values beyond logic. Another huge factor involves full steps nickels. On the reverse side of the Jefferson nickel sits Monticello, and beneath it are tiny staircase lines collectors obsess over endlessly. Fully visible steps indicate exceptional strike quality, and strong full steps examples from 2012 D are much scarcer than casual collectors realize. A sharply struck full steps nickel with pristine surfaces can become a centerpiece in advanced collections. Imagine explaining to someone outside the hobby that a few tiny lines on the back of a nickel help transform it into a collector obsession worth staggering amounts of money. They would probably laugh, until they saw actual auction results. That's the magic of numismatics. Tiny details create giant consequences. Some of the most exciting stories surrounding the 2012 D nickel come from ordinary people discovering unusual coins completely by accident. There are accounts of bank tellers setting aside strange-looking nickels after noticing odd reflections under fluorescent lights. Roll hunters have described finding sharply struck examples mixed among dull circulated coins. One collector reportedly noticed unusual doubling while sorting spare change during a late-night television commercial break. These stories spread quickly online because they tap into something universal, the dream that life-changing treasure could appear during an ordinary moment. A dusty coin jar suddenly becomes a mystery chest. A handful of nickels becomes a lottery ticket. And unlike gambling, coin hunting feels personal because success depends on patience, observation, and curiosity. That emotional thrill keeps people searching for hours. Social media only nickels after noticing odd reflections under fluorescent lights. Roll hunters have described finding sharply struck examples mixed among dull circulated coins. One collector reportedly noticed unusual doubling while sorting spare change during a late-night television commercial break. These stories spread quickly online because they tap into something universal, the dream that life-changing treasure could appear during an ordinary moment. A dusty coin jar suddenly becomes a mystery chest. A handful of nickels becomes a lottery ticket. And unlike gambling, coin hunting feels personal because success depends on patience, observation, and curiosity. That emotional thrill keeps people searching for hours. Social media only intensified the madness surrounding modern rare nickels. Viral videos claiming hidden fortunes inside pocket change pulled millions of viewers into the hobby. Some stories were exaggerated, some misunderstood, and some entirely fabricated, but genuine rarities absolutely do exist, which keeps the dream alive. Every time a strange mint error surfaces publicly, collectors wonder how many more remain undiscovered. Could an even rarer 2012 D nickel still be out there waiting inside circulation? That question alone keeps people hunting through bank rolls year after year. One especially fascinating rumor tied to the 2012 D nickel involves experimental striking pressure variations during certain production runs. According to collector speculation, a small group of coins may have received unusually strong strikes that produced exceptional details rarely seen on ordinary circulation nickels. If combined with flawless preservation and full steps designation, such coins could become legendary among registry collectors. Again, speculation fuels excitement, and excitement fuels demand. In collecting, perception can become almost as powerful as rarity itself. That's why certain modern coins suddenly explode in popularity seemingly overnight. But even with all the hype, genuine knowledge still matters. Experienced collectors know to study strike quality, surface preservation, luster, die varieties, and authentication carefully before assigning major value to any coin. Scammers often exaggerate prices online hoping inexperienced viewers will believe every ordinary nickel is valuable. Reality is more selective. True rarities are rare for a reason. But that selectiveness is exactly what makes successful discoveries so exciting. If everybody had one, nobody would care. The hunt matters because the odds are difficult. Somewhere in America tonight someone could unknowingly spend a rare 2012 D nickel on coffee while another person dreams of finding one worth a fortune. That contrast is what gives the hobby its electricity. Ordinary objects carrying extraordinary potential. And now we arrive at the emotional heart of the story. The 2012 D Jefferson nickel represents modern treasure hunting in its purest form. It reminds people that valuable discoveries are not limited to ancient artifacts or buried gold. Sometimes history, rarity, and luck collide inside the smallest everyday objects imaginable. A nickel most people ignore can suddenly become the center of worldwide collector attention. That possibility changes the way people look at money forever. After learning stories like this, you never glance at pocket change the same way again. Every coin becomes a question mark. Every nickel becomes a possibility. And if you think this story already sounds unbelievable, prepare yourself because the next and final coin in this series is the grand finale collectors can't stop talking about, surrounded by rumors, hidden varieties, and shocking claims that push the boundaries of what most people think a simple 5-cent coin could ever be worth. Next, 1989 P 5-cent USA coins million worth $70. This is not just money, it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Somewhere out there, hidden inside an old coin collection, forgotten in a rusty toolbox, or mixed into a pile of everyday pocket change, a single 1989 P Jefferson nickel may be carrying a story so unbelievable that even veteran collectors still argue about it decades later. Rumors surrounding rare examples of this coin have become legendary in modern numismatics because certain specimens tied to mysterious mint errors, elite condition grades, and almost impossible strike quality have been associated with values reaching $70 million in collector discussions and underground auction chatter. Most people would laugh at the idea that a 5-cent coin from 1989 could hold that kind of potential, but that's exactly why these coins remain so dangerous to overlook. The ordinary appearance is the trap. To most people it's just another nickel. To serious collectors, it could be one of the most elusive modern treasures ever produced by the Philadelphia Mint. And tonight, as we dive into the shocking history, hidden details, strange minting theories, and unbelievable collector obsession behind the 1989 P nickel, you may never look at spare change the same way again. The late 1980s were a fascinating time for American coin production. The United States Mint was producing coins at massive speed to satisfy circulation demand across the country. Machines operated continuously, dies wore down under immense pressure, and quality control systems struggled to maintain perfection across billions of strikes. In theory, modern minting technology should eliminate dramatic mistakes, but reality tells a different story. Whenever enormous numbers of coins are produced under intense pressure, tiny errors begin slipping through the cracks. Most are minor and worthless. A few become collector legends. That possibility is what transformed the 1989 P Jefferson nickel into a modern-day mystery. Collectors started noticing unusual examples with strange characteristics that didn't match normal circulation nickels from the same year. Some displayed exceptionally sharp details and brilliant luster unlike typical worn examples. Others revealed bizarre doubling around Jefferson's face, lettering distortions, die cracks, weak reverses, or strange metallic appearances that sparked endless debate. Were these legitimate mint anomalies? Experimental strikes? Accidental die pairings? Or simply misunderstood variations exaggerated by internet hype? The uncertainty itself became fuel for the coin's growing mythology. One especially fascinating aspect of the 1989 P nickel story involves high-grade condition rarity. Because these nickels circulated heavily, most surviving examples today are scratched, dull, nicked, or worn from years of everyday use. Finding one with nearly flawless surfaces is shockingly difficult. Collectors searching through bank rolls often discover that even uncirculated examples contain distracting marks from storage and transportation. That's where professional grading enters the story. Companies like Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company carefully inspect coins under intense magnification, assigning grades based on preservation, strike, luster, and overall eye appeal. A tiny imperfection invisible to normal eyesight can dramatically reduce a grade. But when a truly exceptional 1989 P nickel appears, razor-sharp strike, glowing mint luster, almost perfect surfaces, and strong design details, collectors lose their minds. Registry collectors especially become fiercely competitive because they want the finest known examples for their ranked collections. When population reports reveal only a tiny number of top-grade survivors, prices can explode into shocking territory. And here's where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Some of the most valuable rumors surrounding the 1989 P nickel involve full-step specimens. On the reverse side of every Jefferson nickel sits Monticello, and beneath it are tiny horizontal staircase lines called steps. Most nickels display weak or incomplete steps because of strike softness, worn dies, or production issues. But a sharply struck full steps nickel showing uninterrupted detail becomes dramatically scarcer and more desirable. Advanced collectors obsess over these tiny lines because they separate ordinary coins from elite rarities. Think about how crazy that is for a second. A microscopic detail most people never notice could completely transform the value of a 5-cent coin. That's the beauty and madness of numismatics. Small details create giant fortunes. And because the 1989 P was produced during a period of heavy mint output, finding pristine full steps examples is far harder than casual collectors expect. Stories began spreading online about near-perfect full-step specimens selling for astonishing amounts, and suddenly everyone wanted to search their old nickels. Coin roll hunting exploded in popularity. Families started checking jars of change together. Social media filled with videos promising hidden fortunes inside pocket change. Some claims were exaggerated, absolutely. But genuine discoveries kept happening often enough to keep the dream alive. That's what makes this hobby so addictive. The possibility never disappears completely. Every nickel could be the one. One rumor that refuses to die involves a tiny number of 1989 P nickels allegedly struck with unusual die pressure, creating sharper than normal details and reflective surfaces that almost resemble proof coins. Some collectors believe these were accidental presentation quality strikes mixed into circulation. Others argue they resulted from fresh dies operating briefly under ideal pressure conditions before normal wear began. Whatever the truth may be, unusual examples continue surfacing occasionally, reigniting debates throughout the collecting world. And when mystery surrounds a coin, collector demand often increases instead of fading. People love unsolved stories. They love the idea that hidden secrets may still exist inside everyday objects. That emotional connection is powerful. It transforms a nickel into a legend. Another fascinating piece of the puzzle involves error varieties connected to the 1989 P nickel. Reports have circulated for years about double dies, die clashes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and dramatic die cracks appearing on certain examples. While not every reported error carries huge value, rare combinations of condition and mint mistakes can create truly extraordinary collector pieces. Imagine finding a near-perfect full steps 1989 P nickel with dramatic doubling visible under magnification. That kind of coin could trigger intense bidding wars among specialists. Auction psychology becomes almost irrational when wealthy collectors compete for coins they may never encounter again. Prices skyrocket because rarity creates urgency, and urgency creates emotional bidding. The most amazing part is that many valuable coins are discovered by ordinary people with no professional experience at all. Someone cleaning out a grandparent's attic. Someone sorting laundry change. Someone casually opening old bank rolls out of boredom. These ordinary moments create extraordinary stories. One person sees pocket change. Another sees history, rarity, and hidden opportunity. That contrast is exactly why rare coin hunting became such a massive cultural obsession online. People love the idea that fortune could be hiding in plain sight. It feels hopeful. It feels possible. And unlike fantasy treasure maps, this treasure actually exists in real circulation. But there's also an important warning here. The internet is filled with exaggerated claims and misleading videos suggesting every old nickel is worth millions. That simply isn't true. Most 1989 P nickels remain worth face value unless they possess rare errors, exceptional grades, or unusual collector characteristics. Serious collectors study authentication carefully because condition, strike quality, and legitimacy matter enormously. Cleaning a coin can instantly destroy potential value. Mishandling it can ruin surfaces permanently. Knowledge separates lucky discoveries from costly mistakes. Still, the excitement remains justified because genuine rarities absolutely do exist, and history proves extraordinary discoveries continue happening in the most unexpected places. Somewhere tonight, someone may unknowingly own a rare 1989 P nickel capable of changing their financial future forever. Maybe it's buried in an old piggy bank. Maybe it's hidden inside a forgotten coin album. Maybe it's sitting quietly in a cash register while customers walk past without noticing. That possibility keeps collectors searching year after year. The emotional core of the 1989 P nickel story goes beyond money. It represents mystery, history, luck, and the timeless human desire to uncover hidden treasure. In a world where most people believe fortunes only belong to the wealthy, rare coin collecting reminds everyone that extraordinary value can still appear inside the most ordinary places imaginable. A tiny nickel ignored for decades can suddenly become the center of international collector attention. One microscopic detail can rewrite everything. And maybe that's why these stories fascinate millions of people across the world. They remind us that hidden opportunities still exist for those willing to look closer than everyone else. So before you spend your next nickel without thinking, take one extra second to inspect it carefully. Because somewhere out there, one small 1989 P Jefferson nickel may still be waiting for the moment someone finally realizes what it truly is.